Welcome to the Easton.Online podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Marshall. And what this podcast is here to do, it's here to help you gain strategies and tactics and tools that are going to help you grow in your martial arts business. If you have a martial arts school, a gym, this is one of my passions, is how we spread the message of how to really grow culture and business and some ways that we do it the best with our people, with our staff, with our clients. So I hope you enjoy. Give a listen. Hi, Josh.
Hey, buddy. Take two.
Take two. Man. So you're the guy that we all call for advice.
Is that true?
I think so. I know so.
I like giving advice. It makes me not have to think about my own shit.
How'd you get here, man? I know. So that's what I know. I know that you're the guy that I call for advice.
That's an honor.
I know.
That's all you need to know.
Everyone's like, call Dinar.
How did I get here?
Where are you from? Tell people where you're from.
East Coast.
I know.
Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, and never left there really through high school. Thought that New Jersey was the center of the world, just outside of New York, and then in college I did a semester abroad in Australia, and that was like, oh, there's other parts of the world here. And
like
after
this whole big world.
All you got to do is get on an airplane. You can go anywhere. I did that, and I traveled, and I got the travel bug. And then after college, I traveled for about a year and a half. And then,
where was college?
UVM, Vermont.
Okay.
Yep.
I got into Vermont.
You did?
I did. I didn't go.
No?
I went to Boulder. It was too close to New Jersey.
Boulder is exactly like Vermont with significantly better weather. It was a shitty winter there. So anyway, I traveled for a year and a half after college around the world, and then came back and got a job in New York and was going to be a lawyer because that was like the path that I was on.
East Coast Jew, baby.
East Coast Jew. My parents said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to be a lawyer. And they said, okay, we'll leave you alone until you do that. And that bought me some time.
So when you say you travel around the world, where's the world?
I was in Israel for a while. I was on a program there. And then traveled from there. I was in Africa. I was in Iceland. I was in Europe.
Okay.
And then came back and was back in New Jersey and was like, oh, this is just New Jersey. And it's funny because I got a job. I got a job offer in Manhattan, and I was going to be on that path. And I was day one on the train in my suit, and it was raining outside, and everyone was just fucking miserable and just, staring down at the ground. And I was like, I hate this, and I haven't even started yet. So I went to that last interview, and it was a really competitive job that this woman went to bat to get, to offer it to me.
This is as a lawyer?
No, that's a long story that I won't bore you with.
Okay.
But I self-sabotaged on my LSATs and was like, that's it, I'm not doing that. So I got this offer. It was actually at the Israeli consulate. And I wasn't, by far, was not the most qualified candidate, but this woman kind of took a shine to me and, like I said, went to bat for me. And I went in to that last interview where they offered me the job, and I said, I was offered a job leading wilderness tours out of Jackson Hole for the summer. If you can hold this job for me for 3 months, then I'll take it when I come back. And this woman just looked at me for like a minute and a half and went,
and this is the lady that helped you?
She goes, are you fucking crazy? And I was like, oh, maybe, probably. So I didn't get that job, and then I went and took this job leading wilderness tours out of Jackson Hole. I'd never been to the West really, and I was going to move to Jackson. Fell in love with that place, and a buddy that I traveled with in Africa got a job in Boulder, and he's like, I'm moving to Boulder. I was like on a payphone, and he's like, I'm moving to Boulder at the end of the summer. I was like, okay, I'll go there, and that was it. And then I met my wife like 2 weeks after we moved here.
Here?
Yeah.
Is she from here?
She's from she's from DC. Okay. So she had just moved out, also completely randomly, and we met through a mutual friend from my friend from UVM, her friend from growing up, and met both of us had just moved out within weeks and met and just started hanging out with each other. That was it.
It just worked out.
Just worked out.
It's crazy how
so
shit
far.
just works out. Yeah. So when did you meet Sus?
I met Sus pretty early on too. Sus and our other
Early on here or early on?
Early on here.
Okay.
Yeah, he was producing. I was working for Ski Magazine as an assistant editor. It was my first job. I was also bussing tables at BJ's, and
BJ's on Pearl Street.
BJ's on Pearl Street. That was a good job.
Is it still there? No, right?
No, they moved to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Fancier digs. I remember that job. I was the first. They had like a crazy busy day, and they had like 2 other bussers call off, and it was just me on this like crazy busy day, and I'm racing around sweating and just like killing myself to like, you know, and the guy pulls me aside at the end and he's like, I just want to commend you on that job today. Like, that's the kind of thing that's going to get you moved up to like lead busser in no time. And I go, cool, I quit. I'm not aspiring to lead busser. But I was working at Ski Magazine I interned there, and then was working as I always wanted to be a writer, so that's really what I came out to do. So I was freelancing around town, and then Ski had just moved out here from New York and got an assistant editor job there. And Sus and his partner, who's now my other third partner, also named Jeff Stiggs, were publishing a magazine, and the restaurant scene was kind of just like...
What was that magazine?
It was called Insight.
Insight, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a college tabloid, like, like a franchise almost.
Okay.
So it was interviews and, jokey stuff and whatever. And we just got to be friends through, I was helping out editing that magazine. And they had been talking about doing a menu guide because there wasn't one in Boulder. And the restaurant scene was just starting to be a thing in Boulder and Denver. So I approached them about turning it into more of a magazine rather than just a menu guide. And, we could do interviews and because of the writing, piece of it. And they had, their other things that they were working on. So I said, let me take this and we'll partner on it. And it just kind of took off from there.
Dining Out, right?
So that was Dining Out. So we started that. And then Sus's sister was a concierge at a hotel in Miami, and she was like, I want to, Miami doesn't have one of these, and I think I want to be the publisher down here. So Jeff flew down and helped her start down there. And then at the same time, my wife, Kate, got part-time transferred to New York. This is pre 9/11. And so we were back and forth between New York again and Boulder. And at that time, we didn't know whether we were going to stay in Boulder.
Pre 9/11, and how old's Mason?
Mason is 14.
So pre. Pre Mason too.
Yeah, pre
everything.
Yeah, we weren't married yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were back and forth. We had a place in New Jersey, and we had a place out here, and we were just back and forth. We were like missing each other, actually. Like sometimes, one was here, one was there. And so we started the magazine in New Jersey at the same time. And so all of a sudden we had 3 of them, and we're like, hey, this makes sense to like hire a full-time editor and hire full-time designers. And then we started creating, and then from there it just, this was, the internet wasn't really a thing yet. And it right time, we just, it just took off. And we were in 17, 18 markets within a couple of years. And then the internet became a thing. And we, so it's scaled back, from there and has taken lots of other directions. And that's how we got into the restaurant industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the internet, Yelp, right?
All of it. It was combined with, so right around 2006, 2007 is when that's, you started hearing that. And then the recession hit, and restaurants just got the shit kicked out of them, in 2007, 2008, and for the next like several years.
Right.
Everyone was seeing, 40% declines in their revenues. And so.
Holy shit, how did anybody make it?
Lots of them didn't.
Yeah.
Brutal. And that was our timing with the Jet Hotel. Also, Sus and I got involved in.
Was Stiggs in that too?
Stiggs was in that, but Stiggs took the lifeboat early on, and he was the smart one. We could have got on the lifeboat with him, but we didn't. So we took the ride. We got an expensive education.
I think, man, so many people hate that though, the expensive education. And
I wouldn't trade it.
I know, that's why everyone calls you.
I would trade it when I was in it.
In it, yeah.
But no, you come out of that and you realize it's I think it's the jujitsu like analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're in a position that fucking sucks, you realize that you're not going to be in that position forever, and like you had to go through enough of those, and you're like, okay, I think my neck hurts a little bit, but I learned.
It might hurt for a month, but yeah, Amal and I have some of them obviously as well. I can remember this one story, like when we spent like $30,000 on this like new funnel, Infusionsoft. Did you hear the story?
Mm-mm.
I mean, all like months of work, $30,000, time as well, learning how to use it as it was going along, right? But you didn't really get to like see it. And then we implemented it, and within 2 days we were like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, really? I'm gonna swallow that.
Right.
I'm gonna swallow $30,000. All right, fuck.
Part of the game.
Part of the game.
Yeah.
So the internet led you to restaurants, kind of.
No, actually. So what happened was, again, it was Stiggs, our third partner, that always wanted to do restaurants. I never did. I thought it was crazy. I have since confirmed that it's crazy. And so he wanted to do restaurants, and so we were supporting him. Sus and I were supporting.
Hold on, let's be clear real fast, everyone. Josh is a restaurateur. Yes.
I guess that's what I've become.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wanted to get in, and he opened a couple of his concepts. One of them. So there was a hamburger concept and an H-burger, and there was a taco concept, which is Tiaco, that's still in Boulder today. That's the kind of last,
the lone wolf,
the last lingering fragment of that episode. But learned a lot from that, and again, he got us into it. I was very passive from an operational standpoint on that, but I kind of got the bug from it, so that when he decided, I'm done, and most of those restaurants got closed, I was like, maybe. I just kind of I still didn't think I was going to do it, and then it's actually Casey Easton's fault that I got back into
really
the operational. Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend who had mentioned an idea for a restaurant that was like crowdsourced recipes. And I loved that idea because that's what I loved about restaurants, was this community piece. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu too. Where it's a bunch of people who otherwise would not be in the same room, all coming into the same room. And so we had been talking to her about that concept, and this was when she was just getting ready to start her cooking school. And
so 4 years ago,
food lab,
her cooking school that she was like doing out of the house, or like actual food lab?
Yeah. So she was just looking for a place for food lab.
Okay.
And she looked at the place where River and Woods is now, and said,
that was John's, right?
That was John's, yep. And she said, we were talking to her, and she said, I just looked at this place. It's not right for food lab, but I couldn't stop thinking about the concept that you were talking about. And so we went and looked at it, kind of, it's like going to the Humane Society just to look. We're just going to see if there's a puppy that speaks to us. So you come out with a puppy. And that's pretty much how it happened. And then I ended up partnering. I wasn't with my chef partner at the time. That's Daniel Asher. He was at Root Down at the time and was running Root Down and Linger and that this Denver restaurant empire. And we had been friends for a long time. and what happened was he had been looking to kind of do his own thing.
So the restaurant thing made sense a little bit, right? Because you met all these people through Dining Out.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right? Like, because Dining Out was a restaurant magazine.
Yes.
You know, and so you
think you start to know, you start to see these, I talked to, and over 15 years had, seen hundreds and hundreds of restaurants open and close, and, what they did and what worked and what didn't work. And you start to see these patterns, and you start to play this game like, okay, this one's going to work. And then you'd see like, okay, what went wrong here? So it was almost like a course in it without actually being in it. When the course is never the same as the real thing, but you get a sense of it, and you get a sense of what's in, what the kind of the real crucial elements are.
And that game is always so easy to play, right? I mean, everyone does it. Everyone does it with like their jiu-jitsu schools.
Right.
They're like, man, like they do it mostly with money.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it happens I don't do it as much with the restaurant game, but I do it for sure. Everyone did it with jiu-jitsu because you look at students, you multiply by a number, and then you go subtract 20,000, and that's what they make.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, fuck off.
Right. Right. Yeah, you can see like, and it's one of those things. I mean, I think all businesses like that are one of those things where people are good at some aspect of the thing in the industry, or they have some interest. As soon as I hear like, oh my God, I have the best recipes, I should open a restaurant, I'm like, you should not open a restaurant. You should cook for your friends.
You should cook for your friends.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I know.
I thought about doing a barbecue restaurant, and then I was like, oh man. Nope. I like it too much.
Yeah.
But I like making barbecue and food for my friends too much that I don't want to.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cook for my friends.
Yeah,
I don't want to like cook for the public.
Yeah. No, there's an aspect of, having done the publishing industry, and no business is easy, right? Then everyone will tell you that. I will tell you that restaurants is significantly harder than the publishing industry. There's no stopping, right? It's the difference between skiing and kayaking, right? You get into trouble skiing, you stop. You get into trouble kayaking, and the river does not give a shit. And that's how restaurants are. Like, tomorrow you got to open again, and the next day you got to open again. And I literally sat in your driveway like, when I was supposed to walk in here, and got a call that the guy who we had been counting on to run our first out-of-state restaurant that's supposed to open in 2 weeks just literally sent a text that said, you'll never see me again. And you got to deal with it, because the clock isn't going to stop. You got to just be thankful that it wasn't a different time, that you couldn't figure out a solution and get it squared away.
How do you figure out these solutions?
I mean, it depends on what the problem is, I guess. I think the first thing is don't panic, right? Stop, assess, and say like, okay, best case, worst case. And then think about your resources. And again, it goes to that network thing, right? If I was just someone that didn't know anyone in the industry, and didn't know who to call when shit breaks, then you're like deer in the headlights, like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. So having that network, and then starting to reach out, and I don't think there's anything more powerful than the network of people, right? I would call you and Amal. Like, when I have a problem, I call you and say, hey, and a gazillion people that know, that have industries outside of, just from your student base. And you're like, hey, I know a guy that you should talk to. Call Vetri. Right. Call so-and-so. So
you're like, for this, like, you're the first non-jiu-jitsu or fight. So I did Park for this podcast, who's like, who came up with us and then has a gym. Right. You're the first non-gym person.
Yeah.
To come on Easton.Online. And I wanted to do that because I want people to see, and I want to hear the stories about what you were just talking about. It's just the people business.
Right. Everything is.
Nothing like the way you have to deal with all of your problems is first jiu-jitsu, right? Like, you have to, I was watching Dinar's Escapes and Pins, and he was like, look, there's steps to this. First, you have to not be vulnerable.
Right.
Right. And, so you're very vulnerable today, right? So the first thing you had to do was solve vulnerability.
Right.
And then you have to then you have to stop end the discomfort, right? So that you can at least sit there for a minute. And then you can start to assess how you're going to get out.
I think that's exactly right.
And that's exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Look, I'm right. I'm always right. That's why you call for advice.
I know. So it was so interesting how, like, because that was on my mind, and then, like, literally you just walked through that same thing and had nothing to do with actually escaping somebody pinning you down.
In a lot of ways it is.
Yeah.
It's the air's coming out of me.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got caught in a choke here. And I think a lot of that is also preparation, right? Not getting into a white belt, knowing what their, what kind of base and background they have, doesn't go into, don't put yourself in a situation that you can't get out of.
Well, the problem is you don't even as the white belt, you won't even open the guard.
Right.
Like, you get someone in the closed guard, you learned armbar 30 times, you know how to do an armbar, and you don't try it.
Right.
Because you have no network.
Right. That's right. And you see, what happens, right, when you're like someone who thinks you're super strong. And so you take a grip and you hold on. And that's the same thing with restaurants, right? You see them just holding, and then you see the shake start to happen, and you're like, it's only a matter of time. It's happening.
Because they could cook.
Right, because they could cook. And they're like, I've got a loan, and there's X dollars in the bank, and I'm losing X percent of those dollars every month, and when they're out, I have no plan. What are you going to do? You're going to wait until they're out, and then you're going to get kicked in the nuts.
Yep.
So going into it saying, like, okay, like, what is the worst case? Like, what happens when the choke comes on? What happens when I start to feel, like I'm going to get in trouble? And what am I going to do? So know that going in. Obviously, that's not where you're looking. You're looking to win. But if I do get in here, I've got some sort of escape plan. What's the worst case? Literally the worst case. Like, I'm going to run out of money and it's going to start affecting other businesses. How am I going to prioritize?
Right.
And that goes right down to, like, I think a life thing, like your personal life, how that's going to affect your personal life. Like, you got to talk to, I'm sure you do it too. You got to talk to your home base and be like, okay, like, here's what happens. Like, we're in this for love, right? It's a nice house right now.
What if we sell?
What if we can't sell?
Right.
So, going right down to, like, the core and thinking about, like, okay, what, who are we as people and what makes us happy? And I think, we're in the process right now of we're swinging for the fences at the moment, right? We're opening 5 restaurants in the next year and a half. And, by statistics, there's a good chance that not all of those work out. So,
2 or 3 probably, right?
Well, here's hoping that we beat those odds.
No, I'm just saying statistics.
Statistics, yeah. But, again, we're building, I think we're building outside of the statistics in the same way that, that you are. You're doing something different. And we like to believe that, that we're doing that too. But, nothing's a sure thing. So, so what are you going to do on the...
According to Foster, World War III is not going to start, and some of us are nervous.
Can we have a separate podcast about
it? We should get the 4 of us on mine, right? Me, you, Evan, Foster, just sitting here and fucking go.
That would be good.
It might ruin my brand, actually.
Listen, different name.
Yeah.
So anyway, when you're going for it, you have to say, like, okay, like, I'm looking where I want to go, but I know that, like, I know in the back of my head that there's a cliff off, on the side. And yeah, I'm not going to, if I look off the cliff, that's where I'm going. So I'm going to look straight ahead, but I got to know that there's a cliff. So
it's the armbar analogy.
What's that one?
Right? Like, you'll go for the armbar. Like when I said, like, the white belt closes his guard and knows how to do an armbar, knows how to do a triangle, knows how to do a kimura, and doesn't move because they don't know how to deal with when they miss it.
Right.
Like you miss the armbar. All you've got is armbar.
Right.
And then you're like, shit. Oh, no, I'm not doing it. But
Right.
like kind of with your failures,
Yeah.
like with H
That's
Burger,
it.
the Jet, all of these things, right? Like that you were talking about earlier, that you're like, okay, this is how you maneuver. This is how I retain my guard.
Right.
Oh shit, I got my guard passed.
I got passed. Now I'm on the bottom.
Now I'm the bottom of side control. I'm pinned. Now what do I do? And you just work your way through it. You stay calm.
Yep.
That's it's jujitsu with restaurants.
Right. And sometimes you got to tap out.
Yeah.
Right. I lost. And you tap and you go and you reset. And you know, I've been there too. I've had to tap out. And you see that it's not the end of the world. Nothing is the end of the world.
It's just in our head that it's the end of the world, right? We tell that shitty story in our head.
Right.
Where when this happens, it ends.
Yeah. That's right.
And then the sun comes up.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And that's, you know, you told me, you saved me, you know, a few weeks ago, because I was like, I started for the first time. I'd never been a panicker. Everything, like I just kind of had a natural ability or gift to.
I was going to ask you about this, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I say gift, I don't mean it's like a talent. I mean, it's just like for me, naturally, I don't stress out and I don't panic, and I kind of take things as they come. And I've always just looked at life as a game. Lucky me. But I woke up one day and was like, holy shit, what the fuck am I doing? Like, we had it good. Like, we were safe. Why am I taking us out of safety to take this risk? Why am I doing that? I'm 46.
Yeah, you're almost 50 years old, right?
No, I'm 46, okay, motherfucker.
All right, sorry, man. Right, but you're middle-aged.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. This could be late
like
in life.
One quarter.
But this could be late in life for all of us. We never know.
That's right.
Right? Like, we could be at the end.
That's right.
You know? But, you know, statistically middle-aged, you're very comfortable. And now here you are. You took yourself out of this.
Took it out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right now in the midst of walking a tightrope. It's a rope that I don't know, and the net is questionable. Right. Like, it, you know,
it might be there.
It might be there. And again, we, you know, try to set yourself up with, you know, to make sure that each business is success. Right. So, you know, again, we know sort of the 101 things. Like, people think that they're going to get open for X dollars. So they find X dollars and think that day one, they're going to start making money back. And that is the case about 0% of the time. So, you know, one thing is like, okay, like, if we lose this much money, I need to be able to, like, give myself a little bit of cushion for a turnaround.
Runway money.
Yeah. So you just, you know, things like that are basic, to be like, I don't have to start, like, literally panicking, you know, when the numbers don't show up on day one or month one or year one.
Right. So you woke up the other day.
So I woke up. It was we went to a friend's wedding in Jamaica, and I was like, I have no business going on this trip. It's the first time that I haven't been able to, like, just turn off even for a few days and just be like, I literally sat in paradise stressing the fuck out. Just like sitting on a chair being like, I can't sit in a chair right now. This is crazy. I can't read a book right now. And I spent, you know, 6 days going like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden I understood what a panic attack was. I started like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't, you know, I mean, everything went kind of out the window, and I was like, I'm in no place to make decisions right now. And we came back. This was, you know, it's over holiday time when everything is like, you can't get people on the phone, and you can't, you know, so, like, you know, there's vacation time happening. So I came back from that trip that I kind of had to go on, and I couldn't get it right then. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I saw you and Mike at
Randori. A training, right?
Yeah. And I was just like, you both saw it, actually. You both saw it in me. You're like, you're off. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm kind of losing my shit right now. Like, I like don't know what to do first this morning. It's the first time where I'm just like, you know, I'm able to compartmentalize. I'm like, you know, a total organizational train wreck, but I'm able to compartmentalize and be like, I need to work on this, and I'm going to, you know, put on my blinders and do this thing that has to get done. And it was the first time that I felt like I couldn't do that. I couldn't focus. And you sent me the meditations. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go sit and do this. And I kind of, you know, for the first however many minutes, I sat there going like, this is 10 minutes that I don't have. And then by the end, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, same deal, right? I'm safe.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Nothing happened.
There's this saying in meditation that says, if you don't have 10 minutes to sit down and meditate, then you need an hour.
Yeah.
You know?
I believe that. And I started doing them on repeat.
Yeah.
I was like, every morning when I woke up with that knot in my stomach, that like horrible knot. I mean, that knot to the point where you're like, man, I'm going to die of a heart attack, and I'm kind of okay with that. Please. Like, that's the safety net. My wife will be fine. My kids will be fine.
I bought insurance.
I got insurance. They're going to be like, good. I'm buying them out of this with this heart attack right now. And literally had to stop and like center myself like that. So I started doing it morning and evening, and like, man, the difference was shocking. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Thank you for a host of things. That is such a thing for me. Like so I do it every day. Like I don't miss. Like, well, I miss, but like it's my thing, because I know that I just need practice for when it goes bad, and I know it's going to go bad. You know, like I know things in my life will go bad again.
Right.
And rather than worry about those things that are going to go bad, like, and sit there and ponder, and you know what to do. I wake up, I meditate, I have gratitude, and that's my morning.
Yeah.
So and I was talking about it last night. You know, just some family things in my life aren't great right now, and it's pretty shitty. It's pretty awful.
Right.
You know? Right. And I have to start my day winning. Mm-hmm. You know, and we're not old enough yet that we can't pee in the morning, right? Like, that's coming for us. Like, one of my students, I said this last night, like, she was like, huh? I was like, yeah, we have this thing called prostate, males, it enlarges, and then we can't piss in the morning, right? Like, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not that old yet. So I start my day successful with 4 things. I pee, you know?
Still winning.
Still winning. And then I meditate, I have gratitude, and I learn.
Yeah.
So I win out the door. Like, before anything else happens, I've won 4 things done. And then as things come to try to make me lose, I go, oh, nope.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, nope, I've already won.
Yeah.
I've already won. So once it's like getting to the mount on somebody, right? Like, you mount them. You've already taken them down past their guard to side control and mounted them.
Right.
So what? They put you back in half guard.
Right.
All right. You didn't want it, you know?
Right.
But you're like, all right, you're tired. I'm not. I'm going to keep winning.
Yeah.
So that's just how
You're up on points.
I'm up on points, and I'll just keep riding that out.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just keep riding that out. So what are the systems that you have to put in place, Josh, like with this 5 restaurants in a year and a half?
Yeah, it's part of that. The analogy that we keep using is like we're changing the tires while this car is moving, and that's that. Like, we can't. You don't have the luxury of closing and pausing and and doing these things. So you got to come out of the gates as as strongly as you can. It's more important now than it was when we opened one and had time to had time to focus on just that thing, because now it's like fires from all directions. So what I'm seeing is people, and I think you guys do that as well as anyone, right? You've got people. I always thought that that you and Amal were so lucky in the business that you found, right? Because you're like grooming in your customers. You're grooming future staff. These are people who some percentage of them are going to fall in love with what you do, and it's going to change their life, and they're going to become passionate about it, and then they're going to and you see it all over your company. And then I take some of those people and hire them. But restaurants is not quite to that extent, but the people who are in it love it. For some, there's a switch in them, and there's something that they love about what it is, and finding those people and putting those people in. I believe in, and we did this with the magazine as well, in finding people who don't come with kind of a predetermined idea of how things should be, right? So I don't want to hire, someone who came from the Ritz-Carlton and that comes with their experience and says like, this is how we should manage. And it's because no, we're not the Ritz-Carlton, right? So if you try to make us the Ritz-Carlton, it's going to fall down. So finding like passionate people first and foremost that like have a natural, like, I don't have to tell you, don't fucking crumple when the shit comes down, right? I want people that are like, that are looking at a challenge and just, they do it naturally, right? I don't have to teach it. I don't have to tell you this. Like, when there's a challenge, I rise to the challenge, which is why finding people from Easton has been so successful, right? Those are people who understand jiu-jitsu. They understand that like, I'm getting choked, it's not the end of the world. There's still shit that you can do.
I've been in the chaos so much.
Right.
Like, chaos doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
That's what jiu-jitsu breeds.
That's the personality. Like, I want to dive into this puzzle and see how to solve it. Like, that's just how I'm wired. So if you find people who are wired to want to solve puzzles and who have just a positive outlook, an optimistic outlook, and not unrealistic, but like optimistic. So to say, we had a situation at River and Woods. We have a tent out back, and it's half of our dining room, and we have events out there. And we had that big snow a few months ago in October, and I was in Jamaica, and I got a call. Hey, the tent collapsed last night under the snow. That was part of my Jamaica trip.
Amazing.
Yeah. Right. And we have 2 buyouts this weekend. What's
that mean?
Means events. People who have their special events. They bought out the tent specifically. And these are people who, for months have been planning on having their event in our tent, which is now under 3 feet of snow. And I'm in a foreign country. So you can collapse like the tent, or you can be like, well, let's start figuring some shit out. And lucky, for us, we have a this amazing group of people from management down, who are like, hell yeah, give me a shovel. And let's start digging, 'cause that's step one. Get the snow off the tent. And then we started making calls from Jamaica, and we found a tent, and we had a bunch of people come out, and we cleared off the snow, and with literally an hour before the first event, we hung a bunch of lights, and we got these fucking people into their tent. And it's not going to work out every time, but it's going to work out 0% of the time that you just go like, this is impossible. And that's the people that you want to. So from a system standpoint, that's step one, is like, get people who are going to rise to the occasion, and then start organizing it. And, we're in the process now structurally where we're figuring out, like, I've got people who are ready to, invest in some of the future projects that we've got going, and I can't take their money because I don't have the corporate structure in place yet, right? So I've got an attorney working on the corporate structure. Can't pay the attorney till I get the money from the people. I mean, and that's what we're in. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to talk to everybody, and right down to our attorney, who, by the way, is a BJJ guy in Denver, Mike Dornick.
Oh, okay.
He's got that same attitude, right? He's just like, hey, I want to help you do this. I, know that this is going to happen. So, hey, this is how we're going to, structure it. I recognize that you can't pay this bill until you raise the money to pay it. So I'm going to help you get there. And
this is my favorite thing about jiu-jitsu. It's that you just meet so many people from all kinds of lives, all kinds of walks. Yeah. Like, I walk into the ER and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my kid was sick in the middle of the night one night, and we had to rush him to the ER, and Renee works in Boulder, but we had no time to go to Boulder. So we had to just go to a Vista. And I walk in, and there's the doc of a kid that we teach. And he's like, hey, Elliot, and I'm like, I'm going to be good.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Not that any normal doc wouldn't take care of me. Like, I'm sure I got, but like, now I knew
there's a difference.
I was going to be taken care of.
100%.
And jiu-jitsu, it's so crazy how it happens. Like, it just brings so many people together that you're just like, okay,
yeah,
you do this.
Right.
Amazing.
And again, to a lesser extent, that restaurants are very similar.
Right.
Right. You have your regular customers, and some of them are, and you have your staff, all who have different interests. And you're putting these people together in ways that they wouldn't without this thing that you made. And that's the fulfilling, that's the fulfilling piece of it.
Yeah. I don't know if it all went to shit for you, would you still do restaurants? Do you love it like that?
I think for me, it's less about the thing. There's all kinds of analogies I think that you can take from anything. Food was never my passion.
Yeah. Do you like to cook? I mean, do you cook?
I do.
Well?
I like to cook.
Okay.
I do. I enjoy it.
But are any of these things at your restaurants like your recipes?
There's input. So it's like, it's the creative piece. If I had a passion, it's writing. That's what I always wanted to do. And making restaurants is, and I think any business is writing. It's, you're building a story, and it's a creative, and it's a, incredibly creative process. And if you're not creative, then I don't think should be an entrepreneur either. And it's, it's creative from a problem solving standpoint, but it's also creative from like a messaging standpoint. Like you have to be able to say, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is our story, and make that an engaging story. And not everyone coming in and ordering a hamburger necessarily will be able to tell that story, but when there's something behind it, there's this subtle thing that people coming in sense. If you're doing it right, and that's not every night, but again, I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing as you. Like, not everyone who comes in necessarily knows Amal's journey, and how you got involved, and like know the whole path. You guys do a good job of telling that, and
nobody knows it when they come in.
Nobody knows it when they come in. That's right, but they sense it because the people who've been there for a long time know it, and even if they've learned it over a lot of time, and so that trickles down to the people who come in as a white belt for the first time. That message from the very first time that that a coach stands up and tells the story from their perspective, which is what I love about what you do, right? It's not a script. It's not there's a baseline, right? This is our story, but I want you to tell the students what your story is, like how it affected you, because that's the only authentic story that you're going to be able to tell. If you start talking about like what Helio Gracie means to you, it's not gonna be authentic. You don't know that guy. You've never been to Brazil. You don't know anything. Amal can tell that story.
You can tell a story about you and Helio Gracie.
Right.
You can't tell a story about Helio Gracie though. Like his life.
Sure.
Nobody cares.
Sure. But again, Amal tells his story. Right. I'm saying that some of your newer coaches,
right.
they couldn't tell that lineage story, right? So they're talking about when they came in as a white belt, what their journey meant to them. And that resonates with everybody. And the people who end up stay because that person's story resonated with them, and that's what you guys are passing down. And that's why I think what the differentiation is between. I've been to lots of schools, also everywhere I go, I go and check it out, and you see across the board that it is just not the same. If you start at your school, then you take it for granted that this is what it is, but that's not the case. It's a rarity.
I hate saying it, but it's, what we do is special. And we've been lucky enough to make that happen. Yeah. Like
it's luck, but it's also like you've empowered. You took Mike, and Mike, same deal. I had the same conversation with Mike that I had with you when I was freaking out. And Mike took me aside and said, hey, in my own way, I've been there. Here's what I did. Let me talk to your operations guy, who's probably in the same place that I was 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he did that, and they had this amazing conversation. And Mike gave us some books that he's been working on, because you guys are several years ahead in the organizational standpoint, and that kind of creating systems and putting people in places, and that's what we're in the midst of. And so Mike was able to say like, hey, I've read 100 books. Here's 3 that really that I keep coming back to. And we're able to take his 100 book library and say, okay, here's the 3. And I have everyone reading those books right now, including myself, and they're great.
What were the books?
Well, I'm only reading the one right now, so I can't say.
Go ahead.
Traction.
Yeah.
And it's a blueprint book, right? And it's like, to someone who's not in the midst of it, it's probably dry as fuck and so boring. But to us, it's like a roadmap, and it's like, okay, when you're reading a roadmap of a place that you need to get to, it's life changing. So again, it's one conversation where you say, and everybody, this is what we always talk about, right? Say it, let people know, because if you're in your own head, you've only got what you've got.
Man, you just got to talk. Like I was talking to Peter last night. Peter called me, and what you just said in your own head, and I was talking to me like, because we had the holiday party Monday. Mm-hmm. I didn't really feel like saying anything. Uh-huh. And then I said something, and I guess it was really good. Like I was like, no, I've been getting messages, and I was like, I don't feel like talking. Right. And I got up there and I said that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like.
Right.
I don't feel like moving the needle. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just say thanks, and then I did, and I guess it moved the needle. You
can't help. You can't help but move the needle.
Yeah. And so he asked me what was the matter, Peter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and I had 5 minutes. I was like, this isn't a 5-minute story. So then he called me and he was like, hey, if you want to talk. And I was like, all right, I'll talk. And sometimes just talking, like what you were just saying. Yeah. Getting it out. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I got therapy in 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Every week.
Heck yeah.
I just get it out. I vomit. I just.
Yeah. I would imagine this is a therapy session for you.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, totally. I have a buddy who teaches an entrepreneur class at CU, and each year he asked me to come and and just speak. He has multiple people come in every week, and he's like, I know you're super busy this year. He's like, if you don't have time, it's totally fine. I was like, man, it's therapy. I come out of that thing like totally jazzed, and he's like, the students want to hear about failure. Like that's what they want to hear. That's what they love.
Because we're so scared of it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just like people have a train wreck,
That too. Yeah, that's why I watch reality TV. I don't do it anymore, but like when I had time before kids, I loved reality TV to watch. I can remember the two girls' names on Real World that I love to watch. Just
right. Well, if you're gonna read like I go and read restaurant reviews, right? Mm-hmm. If someone likes a place, nah, that's boring. That's boring, right? I want to see someone like actively rip something apart, and that's just human nature. You don't slow down to watch someone drive well. You slow down to see the car wreck. Yeah. So that's okay. But it's like, what can I learn myself, and how can that teach? But it's like admitting it makes it like, nobody's just successful 100% of the time in everything they do. And I think that's why people like hearing it, because it reassures them that like the shit that I fell down on, like, oh, someone that seems like they have their whole shit together also doesn't. Right. We did this. We have a food hall in Golden, and I just had a meeting with the vendors, and everyone is like, there's another food hall coming to town.
What's the food hall
and
called?
They're gonna Tributary. And everyone is like, there's another food hall coming to town, and we need to figure all of our things out because they're going to open up and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, here's the deal. They're going to open up and it's going to be the exact same thing, because the truth of the matter when it comes down to it is no human being knows what the fuck they're doing in life. Like, tomorrow is a day that I have not lived yet, and everybody else is in the exact same position.
Dude, life coach. It drives me insane.
Right.
It drives me insane. What the fuck do you mean you're a life coach?
Right.
I barely have mine figured out. It's going okay.
Yeah.
But it could fall off the rails at any point, right? And life coach.
I think that coaching is like, it's something that we're doing with each other anyway,
all the time.
Right? So like our conversations is we're life coaching each other.
Of course. But I'm not your life coach and you're not mine.
No, but if you have someone, it's like a therapist, right? Your therapist helps you. Your therapist helps you because you're paying her to just listen to you. Mm-hmm. And the best therapists are just listening, and like they know that you're going to figure your shit out if you take the time to work it out in your head. So
I just hate the term.
I hate the term also. I heard that, and I hate most of the people that do it, right? Because they think, they have to sell themselves as like having it figured out when they don't. Nobody does.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate.
Right.
That like just look, man, come to jiu-jitsu. You know, like for me, that's all it is. That's my, you want a life coach? Come on, we'll find somebody for you.
Right. Well, you found it.
Yeah.
You know, some people are lost though. So, you know, that there's an outlet for somebody, you know, even if it's just blind leading the blind. And I think there's a lot of that. You know, if you're someone who could, you know, it's like, if you have some raw talent in you, right? It's like, you know, you can have a soccer coach or a jiu-jitsu coach or, you know, whatever. And either you're gonna, you know, you've got a good coach, the same good coach is gonna coach someone to their full potential. And that's, you know, that's it. And your full potential might be like, I played JV soccer, and, you know, and that's it. But, you know, you get there and you learn what you learn from it.
That's success.
Yeah.
That's success. Like Wooden's definition. I can't remember the exact words. It was something about... It's so good. Yeah, it's too good. Hold on. This is where Jordan's lacking. Success quote. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of being.
Yeah.
And that could be JV.
Right. And it's believing it.
Right.
Right. It's, you know,
self-satisfaction.
It's self-satisfaction, you know, and I think there's a line between self-satisfaction and self-delusion.
Right.
Speaking of Foster. But there's a line there, right? But it's like which is why stupid people are the happiest people, right? Because they you know, they walk through, and I think you can be too smart. Like I like to think of myself as like just smart enough to know, but not smart enough to realize like how pointless the whole fucking thing is.
Dude, I was too smart for fighting.
Yeah,
I couldn't get away from the risk. My brain,
right?
You know,
all right.
I'm not too smart, right? But it's just like I couldn't turn that off.
It's self-awareness. Yeah, for me to a much lesser extent, right? In high school, I wrestled in high school, and my senior year, I was always like I was fine. I wasn't going to be a champion, and I knew that. But I really enjoyed wrestling. And they would say like, you know, everyone would laugh at like, you know, the person who wants it more. And I remember it was the district finals, all right? And if I won this match, I
go to regionals.
I went to regionals. Sorry, no, it was the regionals. I would have gone to the states. Yes. So if I lost, career over, right? So that's where I'm at. And I was up against this guy that I had wrestled with and been back and forth with, and we were very evenly matched. I still remember his name, and throughout my high school career, and we're in the third round, and he's up by, you know, a few points, and I remember thinking to myself like, if I win this, I'm exhausted. I'm dead I'm just fucking so dead. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're going to lose by a couple of points. You're going to hold your head high and you're going to go home and you're going to eat a pizza tonight. Tonight. And I remember thinking like, you know, they say whoever wants it more is going to win this match. And I'm like, this motherfucker wants it more. I want a pizza. And I was like, okay, like, you know, where am I going from this? Like, if I get into states, like, I know what I'm up against in states. I'm going to lose in the first round and it's going to be the end of it. And I'm going to go through a month of hell to get there.
Right.
So I don't remember where I was going with that, but it was just kind of like that like, you know, that it's like the mind of the champion, right? Like, I think it's, you know, there's like, you have to be able to delude yourself into thinking you are the best.
Yes.
As opposed to, and that's what it is. And it's a delusion.
It's a delusion. Yeah.
And only the people that are like either, you know, dumb enough or, you know, have blinders on enough to say like, I'm the best in the world, as opposed to like, I'm really good and can hang with anyone.
I think it's why you see them crumble so often.
Right. Well, you know, you always hear the like, I made it to the top. and then what? Right. So like, I'm the best. I'm going to prove that. And now all you got to do is keep proving that over and over and over again. So I'm going to climb to the top of the mountain and, in freezing cold weather, and you get to the top and it's a beautiful view. And then you're like, there's no more to climb.
Nothing.
Now I go down.
There's so few Michael Jordans.
Right.
Like who just are the best and then just continue the best. Like he's crushing life right now. He's a billionaire. Right? Like,
sure, but he's got to be okay with that pivot. He's not the best basketball player anymore. He once was.
Right, but he pivots to like he keeps deluding himself, whatever that word is, delusioning himself, but like he's an awful person.
I don't know. Like, I don't know him.
I don't know him either, but you can just read about him.
Right.
I mean, I love him. I'll talk bad about him, but he's the GOAT of sports. But he's just the shittiest person like you can imagine, because he just keeps that I'm going to crush you.
Right.
You know, and he never stops, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah,
it's got
not for me.
It's
not for me. There's enough.
Yeah,
I think about that with with guys who crush business, right? Become a billionaire. I'm like, I don't care how well I'm doing. I'm checked out before the billionaire. Right, I'm having the pizza, and I'm gonna walk away and be like, "That pizza was delicious," and I got stories for days. And so I know myself that way. That doesn't mean that when I'm in it that I don't want to win. But I recognize kind of what it is that I want. There was that. Did you see that movie? It was on Netflix. It was the guy who was the producer for Jim Carrey's movies.
I didn't see it.
I think it was called like I Am or something like that. And there was this thing where he's talking about, it's a guy who came up from nothing, and he's like, I'm sitting in my 10,000 square foot mansion in Beverly Hills, and I moved in there the first day, and I sat down and I looked at this place, and I was like, I am 0% happier than I was when I was in a 2-bedroom apartment. And look what I did, what nobody else does, right? I got gazillions of dollars in the bank. I'm a famous movie producer, and what's it for? And he like then took a step back, and there's this whole thing around it. But I keep coming back to that, like what is the race for, and where is enough? And my wife is really good at that, at like kind of always saying like, why? You have to have an answer for like, why am I doing this before you start doing it? Or at the very least, if you have already jumped in, you better figure out what you're what
you're in it for.
What you're in it for. Why am I doing this, and what is the end goal? Because you can just you could do that into death, and
if you don't know why, then you're going to violate core values of your life.
If you even have them.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, then you're really then you're a drug addict.
Yeah, then you're really fucked.
Yeah.
If you don't have that why, like that why is it's the North Star, right? Like it's what everything's got to point to.
Yeah.
And if you just do things here or there, then I don't know. I joke with people about it when they're like, "Oh, I want to make money and be rich." And I was like, "Well, dude, you're male, so gay porn and cocaine."
Right.
Like gay porn's ridiculously profitable for males. I looked into this, I know.
Yeah, you looked into it.
I did. Not for me, just like somebody told me that and I looked it up. So I was like, just do that and sell cocaine. Yeah, and sell cocaine. Oh. Like these things are hugely profitable.
So my safety net just got a little bit stronger. Yeah.
Some other things depend. But like that's what it is, man. But that's not why we're doing it.
I don't think so.
For money, I'm saying, right?
For money, no.
You
can. I don't think you can. I forget what kind of like 101 book it was, but our attorney early on in when we were starting Dining Out was like, don't even think about the dollars. Just do this thing. Like have it figured out. Like have the numbers figured out, of course. But just the money follows. Like you do what you do well, and the money will follow. And yeah, if you're doing it for money, first of all, you're like a pretty vapid person. Like early on, there was a guy who we were working with, and he was just like, I'm going to have $10 million in the bank by whatever age. And I was like, cool. What are you going to do with it? What's that going to buy you? It's a number, man. Like, what are you going to do with it? And zero answer.
And most of it's not even real anymore.
Right.
We don't even have real dollars.
I was gonna I would like to make a withdrawal for $10 million.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, unless you sell cocaine and then you have real dollars.
That's real dollars.
You know,
it's true.
Like it's not what we want. It's not why I do it. Like when I asked you about the restaurant thing, it's because I'm going to teach jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
I know.
like if all these crumble.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy a garage and.
Yeah, you found like there's all these find your passion, talks. I actually heard one of the more interesting like TED Talks or something. I heard I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert, and she was talking about how she found her passion, right? And she used to give all these speeches about like find your passion and then live it and then drive towards it and like do that. And then she she's the unicorn, one of the unicorns. You're another one. I don't even know who she is. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
And she's like, all my life since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a writer. And then I wrote, and then I did it, and I got my MFA, and I wrote, and I got an agent, and I wrote a book, and it became an Oprah bestseller, and I make a living at it, and it became a movie. And look at me, I got to do exactly what I wanted to do from the time I was a kid. And she said, same deal. That happens to exactly 0% of people. And she said, I gave one of these talks about find your passion, like you have to find your passion. And she had someone come up after the thing and say like, that was the most depressing talk I've ever heard. That was completely uninspiring. And she's like, I was crushed. And she's like, well, why was it uninspiring? And she said, it's because I don't know what my passion is. How the fuck am I going to find my passion? I'm 20 something years old or 30 something years old. And like, I don't know what I want to do. So like, I don't have a passion. So am I useless? Is my life pointless? And so she like that crushed her, and then she took a step back and like started talking. And so her new message is be curious, which is like, no, you may not have the one thing that you want to do. That's a blessing and a curse too, right? Like I've got one thing, and if that thing doesn't work out for me, then like it's the fighter guy. I was in Vegas at a gym in Vegas, and there was this guy who was like running with a backpack, and he's like, I'm getting married and my girlfriend is pregnant and I gotta make it as a fighter. I'm like, oh man, fuck. Jesus Christ. I'm like, that sounds worse than like I gotta make it in a restaurant. Anyway, it's the same thing where, so her point was, go out and like be curious about a bunch of shit, right? And that's like, anyone can do that. Like, I'm interested in hearing what you do. I mean, you're asking me about restaurants. You have zero interest in a restaurant, but it applies to you in some way. And so you take what's interesting about that to you, and you're interested in it, and you become a listener. And I think it's the same. I think that's her point that really resonated with me, is like, hey, I'm interested in all this shit. I'm not going to go do it. I suck at, 3/4 of what I'm interested in, but I love listening to somebody else who is passionate about something. So let me go. Sus is great at this too, right? He's like, I'm going to go make soap. And all of a sudden you got to hear him listen to like, his fucking, soap stories for like a month and a half until he gets tired of soap making. But now he can talk to someone who makes soap about soap. And I just think that's like, if you're going to create a mission for your life and you don't know, the specific thing that you want to do, then it's like, okay, well, go do something for a month. Go find out about something for a month. Have interests.
Don't be so scared.
Be an interesting...
Be scared and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go try.
Yeah.
See what it's like.
It's low risk,
Especially young.
Especially young. Yeah. And then maybe you bump into something. You didn't know jiu-jitsu was your thing until you...
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
And then it hits you and you're like, oh.
Yeah. That's the thing. I can do it.
I have no business being in business. Like I break all the rules.
Well, that's why it's good though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's working for you. That's the thing about the creativity, right? And a little bit of the delusion. Like, I believe that this can work. I'm going to believe that this can work until it doesn't, until I'm proven wrong that it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be open to being proven wrong. And then I'm going to pivot.
The pivot's very important.
Pivot's crucial. But again, look at everyone who's kind of at your, management level, they were all lost until they came into the gym.
Every single one of us.
Every one of you. Yeah. Including Amal. Mm-hmm. Didn't know what you were going to do until you like bumped into this thing and then just started doing it. And different stories, but the same story.
It's this, yeah. It's God, for me, you're talking about like why I do this a little bit, like, because I get to hear stories about like the be curious thing.
Yeah.
Like that was great. Because like I tell people a lot to go find their passion. And I can see it. It could be awful.
Yeah.
Like if you're 35 and I tell you to go find you're like, dude, fuck off.
Right. What
do you mean? I got 2 kids. I got a wife. Find my passion.
Your passion might not be that thing. Like right. Lots of people, work in a cubicle and they're like, I come home at the end of the day and my passion is my kids, or my passion is my I throw pottery or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
And so like that, and that's my outlet. So, so many people ask like, what do you do? And, that's a hard question for a lot of people who are like, I'm a systems analyst for, whatever. They find things out of that, but like,
That's not the nicest question.
It's a microaggression.
Oh God. All right, we're done. No, but seriously, man, thanks. I know, like I said, I know you're busy, but
gotta go find a GM in Idaho.
Gotta go find a GM in Idaho.
Fuck.
Good luck, man.
But this is fun. It's the meditation, right? You take yourself out in the same way jiu-jitsu is.
This is the only thing we can do is talk.
Yeah.
We're doors shut, cameras are on. You look silly if you just get up and leave. So, all right, man. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Josh, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, my man.
If you're in Boulder, River and Woods, Golden Tributary, where else?
Ashkara. That's coming to Boulder, too.
It's coming to Boulder. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. And the Boulder Reservoir. That's going to be this summer.
What's that? What's the Boulder Reservoir?
We're doing a restaurant, food truck park, and event center.
Fuck yeah. Hit up the Boulder Res.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Josh, thanks a lot.